I'm not sure if you got a recording thing in your ear there, but
Yes,
all right. So just before we get started, just for some audio levels, could you just say your first and last name and spell it for me?
sure. Eric Mays, Ericmayes.
So basically, the thing I just want to dive into is the growth of girls flag football. I know you're flag football in general, but I want to specifically focus on the girls today. Flag football as a sport, however, has been growing rapidly. Especially for the girls. What have you seen in the surge in popularity, and like what have you specifically learned just from your role day to day at work? What have you seen?
Yeah, I think the explosion of participation in girls and women's flag has been really something that's just been exciting to USA football to see as participation in overall football continues to grow. But when you look at the inclusion of flag football into the Olympics, the ever-growing opportunities for women to play flag football in college, starting with the NAIA, the NJCAA, so for junior colleges, and now the NCAA, looking at emerging sport for women. Um, High school level, 14 sanctioned states, now going on 15. It's just tremendous to see that. And then at the grassroots level, from a participation standpoint, you're looking at over 200% increase in participation of young girls ages 6 to 12 playing the game. So, when you're looking at a sport, when you're looking at the opportunity for sustained growth, that's where you want to look at, right? The youth levels and that participation. And having that combined with growing opportunities for girls and young women and women to play the game at the highest level all the way to the Olympics, you're really creating a scenario where um, 5, 10, 15 years from now, you have a very popular and dynamic sport that women are going to be playing all around the country.
You mentioned 10 to 15 years from now. You talked about the 14 states. Pennsylvania is one. That's where we are located in Center County. Our closest high school does not have it, but like personally, my high school from eastern side of PA does have it. You said 10 to 15 years. Would you expect that to be something where it's globalized in all 50 states?
Yeah, I think that's where we're headed, where a number of states are piloting girls' high school flag, looking at ways to implement at a state level, but also at a district level, and then at the very grassroots. From a USA football standpoint, we continue to provide resources, whether that's playing rules, coaches' education, officials' education, to help um, grow the foundation of that. So, absolutely. 10 years from now, I see a very likely scenario where you have a vast majority of states within the United States recognizing girls' flag as a sanctioned high school sport.
Me and this kid in my class, we went to the Steelers practice facility this weekend, and they had a girls' flag football jubilee. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, or if you guys partner with the NFL or anything like that, but do you guys have direct contact with the NFL, and do you see the NFL helping the growth of flag football, or is it kind of are they in for football, or is flag and NFL kind of separate, or like how are they influencing your guys' work?
Yeah, so USA Football and the NFL have a very good working relationship on several fronts. We're supported by the NFL Foundation via grant that helps us create resources and education to stimulate the grassroots growth of the sport of football, so including both contact and non-contact disciplines. And then the NFL clubs, USA Football works with the NFL clubs to help engage the football ecosystem within the footprints of those various teams. So you mentioned the Pittsburgh Steelers. So USA Football works with clubs like the Steelers to operate camps and clinics for kids, both boys and girls. Help provide resources and equipment for girls looking to play flag football or leagues looking to implement flag football for females, and then also help educate athletes within their infrastructure relative to our national team process and our national development program process, but then also where needed, help with the conversation of state associations recognizing the sport. So it's a very hand-in-hand relationship at the club level. Um, Clubs like the Los Angeles Rams were very involved with, and CIF now recognizing girls' high school flag, and then that continues as other sports, other states look to implement the sport.
That's definitely a good relationship to have. For young girls who are considering to play flag football, what would you say like the biggest benefit? What would be your pitch to have them to come over to flag? Maybe like the wear and tear. I know like when I'm older and I have kids, tackle football is something I'd be hesitant to get them into just because of the wear and tear and tackles and
Yeah.
like, all the stuff now and all the new medicines and stuff. And I'm sure with the helmets and the guardian caps, everything will get on that front more like safe. But what would you say the biggest benefit is to flag football?
I think anyone looking to get into flag football really looks at it from a perspective of flag football is a great entry point to the sport of football generally. If that's the track, and I'm talking not only girls but for girls and boys, coming in, learning the technique of the sport of football, and then either transitioning into tackle football if that's where they want to go. And USA Football with the football development model helps facilitate that and educate coaches to equip kids to make that transition. Or now, because of the Olympics and everything we've talked about on the girls and women's side, continue into that elite element of flag. So flag football itself is easy to pick up, limited equipment. You're just looking at flags, flag belts, a field, a ball. It's cost effective to implement anywhere in the country if you have that. It is an inclusive discipline of the game. So you have co-ed teams, boys and girls playing together. You have boys teams, you have girls teams, and that continues all the way up. And you see increasing opportunities now internationally, even amongst the 100 countries that are implementing flag football to continue to grow that. So football is one of, if not America's favorite sport. This is a great way to play that and provide more opportunity for more people to play. And especially here in the United States, our pitch is, this is an opportunity to continue to participate in the sport that many people love in the United States. Take advantage of that.
You mentioned internationally. I just got two more for you. This one's kind of, I don't know if we'll use any of it. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
The inclusion of flag in the Olympics. I'm not sure how long you've been with USA Football or whatever. When they were
Mhm.
trying to get that deal done or trying to like set that up, was that really like? Could you just talk to me a little bit about that? Like, do you know anything about how that went down or how that was pitched or anything like that?
Yeah, it was really a collaborative effort with the International Federation of American Football, which is the governing body of all international football, both tackle and flag, the National Football League, and USA Football really coming and helping set the table for all the things I've talked about relative to flag football, its inclusive nature, limited barrier to entry, the expansive growth internationally, and work with LA 2028 to see flag football as a viable sport to be recommended for the games as the host committee, and then make that recommendation to the International Olympic Committee. So it was a very involved process. It's really telling the story of the footprint of the sport. The Olympics have an athlete cap of 10,500 athletes. So the footprint of flag football not being 11 on field at the same time roster sizes of 45 to 50. We're 5-on-5, so it lends to that getting underneath the cap and creating that. Obviously, men and women participants, and that diversity is a big one. And it's a growing, very dynamic, fast-paced game. So, one game can be over in the period of an hour, multiple games in a day, very exciting to watch. So I think a lot of those pieces, and it helps that the United States is very competitively successful in flag football from an LA perspective, that all kind of lent to LA recommending it to the IOC and the IOC accepting that recommendation. So I very much see the inclusion of flag football in the Olympics as a launching point for the sport across the world. And going back to the women's side, it's not a destination because very much you look at other sports like women's soccer, for example, and when that took off and the success in the United States in the Olympics really helped jumpstart participation at the youth level for girls soccer. I see that happening in flag football as well. So it's really exciting to be a part of it and see it grow across the world.
I think, especially now, like all that stuff that you just mentioned is so interesting to me. Just like the background and logistics of how everything gets done. But I think now, especially, like I'm not sure how much you pay attention to. Like the USA just did the NHL just did like the Four Nations Face Off. Like that was
Hmm.
a hit with all the international play and the summer from basketball last year with Curry and all them. Like in the USA, I just think football is just going to bring a whole nother level to it. And I think that flag football just being included is just gonna be cool because I played flag growing up and it's kind of like just it's serious. Don't get me wrong, it's serious, but it's still kind of like backyard vibe. You're just playing flag with your buddies and hanging out. And I feel like the NFL guys are probably pretty excited to get going over there and doing that.
There are many people excited about jumping in. I think to your point, you've been playing flag football for a while. There's a group of athletes that are really excited about what the platform of the Olympics does relative to the credibility of the game, right? I'm passionate about it. I've been playing it for so long and playing it at a high level. And now, because of the platform of the Olympics, you have athletes who never considered flag football now interested in playing. So it makes it really excited for us as USA Football to say, hey, these are our criteria. This is how we're selecting it. We're building the best team possible. And the prospect of having um, athletes come in that you won't traditionally see in the game, but maybe will be in the game moving forward is really exciting for us. So you're right on there, Tyler.
Yeah, you mentioned like I've been playing flag. We have flag at Penn State. Like, I can't even show you a clip.
Yeah,
I don't know if it'll pull up, but we had a snow game, Final Four snow game. So yeah, flag's just a blast. We offered at Penn State the intramurals. Everyone gets into it. We don't have a girls league. We have an open league where men and women can play together, but we don't just have a girls league. I don't know. It's not like
got to do it.
it's not like we're lacking kids or anything. We have so
You got to be the pioneer at Penn State and talk to them about adding a women's program
I
to it.
know. All right, so I'll just ask you one more just overview before, and I can get you out of here.
Yeah.
If you fast forward like 5 to 10 years, we've got maybe like 2 Olympics under our belts.
hmm
How do you see this continuing to evolve, and how do you see the sport just continuing to grow?
Domestically or internationally?
Anything, just the whole world, internet, everything, just the sport.
So
What's the max that it could? Because you see how big soccer is. Like
yeah,
soccer is the biggest sport in the entire world. Football has just been something that's just tackle football America. Maybe like Canadian football we try to start up. Maybe like Australia plays rugby, stuff like that. Well,
yeah.
flag football, it could introduce everything. I mean, it should be cheaper to play. There's all kinds of variations. What do you see the whole world flag football doing on the whole world?
Honestly, sky's the limit, and I truly mean that. So I also serve on the International Federation's board of directors, and you start to really appreciate. You mentioned just the inclusion, the how this sport can be implemented across the world. 100 countries already playing, but you have more and more countries investing in this game being played at the highest level. We're talking the Olympics and World Championships, et cetera. And that's an opportunity for the sport of football that hasn't really been available for tackle football just because of the sheer cost of implementing it alone with equipment and squad sizes and requirements and things like that. So I think if the Olympics prove successful for flag football and the sport can get on the program for 32 in Brisbane and Olympics moving forward, you're really looking at a discipline of the sport that we love in the United States, really being accepted and appreciated across the world, and that's your sky's the limit perspective. So, is it viewed in the same vein as a soccer? Or track and field or basketball or other sports that translate across boundaries. I definitely think so. But our priority now, speaking from the international perspective, is make sure that when those countries, including the U.S., hit the field in L.A., that we are putting on a highly competitive, highly dynamic, and exciting game for the fans, and then ultimately U.S. walking home with gold.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Eric. I appreciate it. This is really good stuff. I can send over you guys the link, and I'm sure if Ryan's still in here, if he can hear me, I can send over the link if you guys want to see it when we're live. It'll be either live. We're live every Friday at 12 on our YouTube and surrounding channels. It'll either be on this Friday or next Friday, so I could send it to you guys if you guys want to check it out as well. We'll definitely use some of this, and then, like I said, we got some other stuff from the flag at Pittsburgh this past weekend, and some other just local girls and stuff that play. So really appreciate
Yeah,
the invite.
Tyler, we always love to see that stuff. So whether it's live or it's a recording, you can send our way. 100%,
Sounds
please.
good.
Yep.
I just want to thank you guys both again for your cooperation and just being willing to do this. Really cool.
Yeah,
Tyler,
my pleasure.
anytime if you want to talk more USA football, just reach out, please.
Sounds good.
All right, man.
Best
Take
of
care.
luck with everything. Take care.
You too. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Bye.